Everything begins at Baybridge Beach, where two best friends, Haley and Claire, are enjoying the last days of their summer vacation. As they relax on the sand, Haley can't stop staring at Ray, the beach lifeguard. However, a group of popular girls led by Cecilia steps in first and manages to grab his attention. Claire tries to comfort her friend, telling her that Ray doesn't really care about those girls, but he seems determined to impress them, showing off his strength in front of everyone. Upset by the situation, Haley decides to leave. That same day, Claire helps her grandparents decorate their beach house. They're organizing the town festival, called the Last Splash, and want everything to look perfect before the big day. Later, Haley returns home and is shocked to see a for sale sign in the yard. Her mother, Ginny, has decided to move to Australia after receiving a great job opportunity as a marine biologist. The news breaks Haley's heart because it means leaving behind her home, her life, and Claire. The two friends meet and desperately try to come up with a way to stop the move, but when they can't find a solution, they decide to pray together, asking the sea gods to make Haley's mother change her mind. Soon after, a powerful storm suddenly rolls in. Massive waves crash against the beach house, and the electricity goes out. In the middle of the darkness, a mysterious man wearing a hat appears in front of them, scaring them completely, only for them to realize it's just Maggie, who came to tell them it's time to go to bed. That night, Claire has a strange nightmare, as if something in the ocean is calling her. The next morning, the girls return to the beach house and find everything in a mess after the storm. While the grandparents clean up, Claire notices a mysterious light glowing from the pool. She leans in too close and accidentally falls into the water. Beneath the surface, tangled among the seaweed, she sees something unbelievable. A huge fish tail glides past her. Then she spots a young blonde girl with blue streaks in her hair, though she can't clearly see her face. Terrified, Claire tries to escape, but the water seems to wrap around her. Just in time, Ray jumps into the pool and rescues her. When Claire comes out of the water, she tries to explain what she saw, but the adults assume it was just a fish carried in by the storm. Still, Claire is certain it wasn't just something, it was someone. So that night, she returns to the pool with Haley to investigate. To lure the creature out, Haley throws some bait into the water. Suddenly, something moves. A young girl slowly emerges, but she isn't an ordinary girl. She has a fish tail. Her name is Aquamarine, and she is a real mermaid. Haley and Claire are completely stunned. Aquamarine is not only beautiful, she also has incredible powers. She can light up the water, leap great distances, and even create waves with her mind. The mermaid explains that she ran away from her home deep in the ocean because her father wanted to force her to marry a merman as part of tradition. She refused, and during the storm, she was swept all the way to the beach house. Suddenly, Leonard, the groundskeeper, hears noises and comes to investigate. The girls quickly head back inside, but before leaving, they ask Aquamarine to hide in the pool. The next day, they rush back, only to find that the pool has been drained. For a moment, they fear the worst. Then they discover Aquamarine hiding in a nearby storage shed, tucked between the safety buoys. That's when she reveals something even more surprising. When she's on dry land in daylight, her tail disappears and transforms into human legs. But if she gets wet or night falls, she turns back into a mermaid and must return to the water as soon as possible. Claire invites her to her house, and Haley lends her a shirt to wear. Although Aquamarine doesn't understand how human clothes work, she manages to adjust it and turn it into a dress, amazing both girls. Little by little, she begins to enjoy life as a human. But suddenly, her shell starts ringing like a phone. It's her father, and he orders her to return to the ocean immediately. Aquamarine refuses to return to the ocean because now that she's on the surface, she wants to prove that true love really exists. Furious, her father unleashes a massive storm, raising powerful winds and giant waves that threaten to destroy everything in their path. But Aquamarine manages to calm him down, promising that if she doesn't find true love, she will return to the ocean and obey his orders. Hearing this, her father accepts the deal and the storm disappears. Then the mermaid explains to Haley and Claire that in her world, love doesn't exist, since all mermaids and mermen are forced to marry someone chosen by their parents. However, she doesn't want to live that way because she has fallen in love with someone from the surface. That someone is Ray, the young lifeguard, whom she sees when surfing at the beach. Determined, Aquamarine runs toward him without thinking, and as soon as she reaches him, she directly asks if he loves her. Ray is completely confused and doesn't know what to say, but he is impressed by the beauty of the mysterious girl. Before he can say anything else, his friends call him, and he leaves, leaving Aquamarine sad as she realizes that love is not something that can be obtained easily. Even so, she decides not to give up and asks Haley and Claire for help to win Ray's heart. In exchange, she promises to grant them one wish, something that immediately catches their attention, especially Haley's, who sees this as the perfect opportunity to avoid moving away from Baybridge. However, first, they must help Aquamarine fully adapt to the human world and teach her how love works. Meanwhile, at the pool, Leonard finds a necklace buried in the sand with a pendant very similar to one he found in the ocean years ago. Intrigued, he begins to suspect that something strange is happening and decides to investigate further without imagining that the owner of the necklace is very close. In Claire's bedroom, Haley and Claire begin teaching Aquamarine the secrets to attracting a boy. The first step is to call him on the phone and hang up quickly to spark his curiosity. Aquamarine tries to do it, but as soon as Ray answers, she panics, starts screaming, and ends up throwing the phone out the window, completely ruining the attempt. Even though the plan fails, the girls don't give up and decide to try something different. They go out for a bike ride with the idea of passing by Ray's house and catching his attention without making it seem planned. Just as they pass by, Ray is outside exercising and is surprised to see Aquamarine again. But the mermaid gets so nervous that she loses control of the bike and falls to the ground. Ray immediately runs over to help her and puts a bandage on her leg, while Aquamarine thanks him with a shy smile. However, the moment is interrupted by Cecilia, who arrives with her friends to take driving lessons with Ray. Cecilia starts mocking the girls, saying they don't stand a chance with him, and even laughs at Aquamarine's name. But the mermaid responds confidently, explaining that her name comes from a rare ocean jewel, and then mentions that the name Cecilia means without sight. Cecilia is left speechless for the first time, and Haley and Claire are impressed by their friend's confidence. After this, they return to Claire's room and look through several magazines, teaching Aquamarine more tips on how to make someone fall in love. After learning enough, the mermaid feels ready to try again. That same night, the three girls go to a fair in town, where they find Ray with his friends. Following the plan, Aquamarine tries to get his attention by walking near him and laughing, and when he approaches, Haley and Claire signal for her to make eye contact and touch her hair. But Aquamarine, not fully understanding, starts moving her hair in a strange way. Even so, Ray is happy to see her again. Then, as a kind gesture, he gives her a dolphin float that he won in a game, and the two continue walking together through the fair, spending more time together and beginning to form a more special bond. Suddenly, Aquamarine notices a couple rowing across the lake in a small boat, and Ray suggests they do the same. As they sail together, they begin talking and discover they have a lot in common. Both of them have very strict and overprotective fathers. Aquamarine tells him that her father wants to force her to marry someone she doesn't love, while Ray confesses that he dreams of traveling the world, but his father insists that he must go to college. The conversation brings them closer and closer, and Ray even asks if she already has a date for the last Splash Festival. But before Aquamarine can answer, she notices that the sun is about to set. She knows she will soon turn back into a mermaid, so she panics and starts rowing quickly toward the shore. Claire and Haley run to help her out of the water just in time. Confused, Ray asks what's going on, but Aquamarine simply apologizes and says she has to leave. Then the three of them ride off on their bikes, knowing they need to find water before it's too late, since the pool is still empty and if she returns to the ocean, her father might force her to stay there forever. After thinking for a moment, Claire and Haley take her to a water tank located in a remote part of town. However, to reach it, they must climb a long staircase. Haley goes up with Aquamarine, while Claire stays behind, frozen by her fear of water, which she has carried ever since she lost her parents in an accident at sea. Finally, they reach the top, and Aquamarine jumps into the water, transforming back into a mermaid. Later, Haley and Claire are in the bedroom thinking about the last Splash Festival, and they decide that Aquamarine needs a special dress. Using their savings, they take her to the mall, where they spend a fun afternoon trying on clothes, doing their nails, and fixing their hair. Aquamarine begins to feel happier and happier living as a human. When they return home, Claire offers to lend her one of her earrings, but Aquamarine doesn't want to pierce her ears. Instead, she suggests something different and invites them to the harbor to make their own earrings using starfish. When they arrive, Aquamarine points to a buoy and explains that they can find them nearby. It's a long distance, but with a loud whistle she calls her dolphin friends to help. Because of her fear, Claire decides to stay on shore, while Haley swims with the dolphins toward the buoy. As they wait, Aquamarine talks to Claire and tells her she needs to leave her fear behind and learn to enjoy life. Claire replies that she wishes she could be as brave as she is. Then Aquamarine explains that her confidence was born because of love, when she once saw a couple sailing across the sea at night. Although she didn't know who they were, she remembers the boat was called Claire's Moon. Hearing this, Claire realizes they were her parents. Emotional, she listens as Aquamarine explains that her parents loved each other deeply and always wanted the best for her. Claire is deeply moved by this. Soon after, Haley returns with a starfish, and the three friends decide to grab something to eat at the bar. However, there they run into Cecilia's friends, who start mocking them and say that Ray invited Cecilia to the last splash. Hearing this, Aquamarine feels betrayed and hurt. Upset, she spills her drink on them and runs off, saying that everything was a mistake and that love doesn't exist. Haley runs after her and finds her standing in front of the ocean, unsure whether she should go back home. Haley tries to stop her and tells her she can't give up now, that true love really does exist. Then she confesses that she herself stopped believing in love when her father left her mother, but she still holds on to hope, because love is the closest thing to magic that exists. These words deeply move Aquamarine, and for the first time, the mermaid begins to cry, letting emotional tears fall down her face. Aquamarine decides to stay, and while she and Haley continue talking in front of the ocean, Claire gets on her bike and rides straight to Cecilia's house to confirm whether Ray really invited her to the last splash. When she arrives, she finds the young lifeguard and asks why he invited Cecilia instead of Aquamarine. Ray, confused, explains that he heard Aquamarine already had a boyfriend, but Claire assures him that isn't true. Cecilia, realizing her lie is about to be exposed, orders one of her friends to push Claire into the pool. Claire's fear immediately returns, and she begins screaming in panic until Ray helps stop her from falling into the water. Shaking and crying, Claire runs away, while Ray, upset about what happened, follows her to apologize. He also asks where Aquamarine is, and Claire decides to take him to her. Meanwhile, Aquamarine is at Claire's house, opening up to Haley while they eat ice cream, with the mermaid relaxing inside a bathtub filled with water. Suddenly, they hear someone arrive, and Aquamarine quickly hides when she realizes it's Ray. She asks him to wait in the living room while she gets ready. Then Aquamarine comes out to talk to him, and after clearing up the misunderstanding, Ray finally invites her to the last splash. That night, the festival begins on the beach, and Ray is participating in the games when he sees Aquamarine arrive. He is completely amazed by her beauty, not even noticing when someone throws a water balloon at him. Happy to see her, he invites her to spend time with him, while Haley and Claire watch from a distance. Wanting to help, the girls convince the band to play a romantic song. When the music starts, Ray invites Aquamarine to dance. Even though she has never danced before, she tries to copy the others, moving awkwardly at first, but Ray patiently guides her, and little by little they begin dancing in harmony. Everything seems perfect until Cecilia appears and tries to ruin the moment. However, Claire finds the courage to stand up to her and tells her to leave, that Ray and Aquamarine are together. Cecilia insists for a moment, but when she sees them happy, she realizes she has lost and leaves in anger. After the dance, Ray and Aquamarine walk together along the beach, but the sun is about to set, and Aquamarine knows she must leave. Ray asks her to stay, but she kisses him and tells him to meet her at the harbor at 9 that night. Then Haley and Claire take her back to the water tank, not knowing that Cecilia and her friends secretly followed them. That night, Cecilia climbs up the tank to discover the truth and sees Aquamarine swimming with her fishtail. Shocked to discover she is a mermaid, she quickly climbs down, but before leaving, she knocks over the ladder, trapping Aquamarine inside. She then decides to tell her father, a famous local reporter, everything. The next morning, Cecilia lies to him, saying she heard a girl crying for help inside the tank. Seeing the chance to get a big story, her father calls the authorities and a film crew. Meanwhile, Haley's mother finishes preparing for the move. Although Haley feels sad, she decides to support her mother, understanding that this job is her dream. She then goes to Claire's house to say goodbye and asks her to take care of her pet fish. Claire reminds her that Aquamarine can grant her a wish to stop the move, but Haley says she no longer wants to use the wish that way because now she understands she must support her mother. Hurt and feeling abandoned, Claire accuses her of wanting to leave her behind. Haley leaves sadly and Claire stays in her room crying. To distract herself, she turns on the television, but is shocked to see on the news that a rescue team has been sent to the water tank. Realizing that Aquamarine is in danger, she immediately calls Haley, and together they jump on their bikes and race to save their friend before it's too late. Finally, Claire and Haley arrive at the water tank and find it surrounded by firefighters, police officers, and reporters. At that moment, Cecilia tells the press, right in front of her own father's camera, that there is a girl trapped inside the tank and that she needs to be rescued. Everything is broadcast live as the firefighters climb up to inspect it. However, when they check inside the tank, they don't find anyone, only a dolphin-shaped float. The crowd begins to whisper, and many start to believe that Cecilia made the whole story up. She insists there is a mermaid inside, but when they hear that, everyone laughs, even Claire and Haley, trying to play along. Embarrassed by the public scandal, her father scolds her for wasting everyone's time. Relieved that Aquamarine hasn't been discovered, the girls wonder where she could be. What they don't know is that Leonard had already found the mermaid the night before and decided to help her. He brought a ladder to the tank so she could climb down and escape before the authorities arrived. He also returned the necklace he had found years earlier in the pool. Grateful, Aquamarine offers to grant him a wish, and Leonard asks for help confessing his feelings to his co-worker Patty. Meanwhile, Claire and Haley rush to the harbor because the time of Aquamarine's date with Ray is getting close. Ray is already there waiting when Aquamarine finally appears. Happy to see her, he tries to ask her out again, but she tells him she first needs to know something very important and directly asks if he loves her. Ray, being honest, says it's still too soon to say, since they are just getting to know each other. That answer saddens Aquamarine because she knows that without proof of true love, she will have to return to the sea. At that moment, Cecilia appears, furious, and without thinking pushes Aquamarine off the dock into the water. Ray prepares to jump in after her, but suddenly a massive storm begins to form and Aquamarine emerges with her mermaid tail. Even though the revelation is shocking, Ray does not run away. He grabs his surfboard and heads into the ocean to help her. However, Aquamarine's father uses the force of the waves to drag her back toward the sea. Desperate, Haley tries to think of a solution and decides to jump into the water. This time, Claire jumps in as well, overcoming her fear of the ocean to save her friend. The two swim toward Aquamarine and cling together to a float as the current grows stronger and stronger. Haley suggests using the wish to force her to stay, but Aquamarine explains that it would be useless if she hasn't proven that love exists. Then Claire, with all her heart, shouts that she and Haley love her, that their friendship is real, and that they would do anything for her. Those words deeply move Aquamarine. Her tears fall into the sea and trigger a magical reaction that calms the storm and quiets the waves. Thanks to the sincere love of her friends, she has proven that true love really does exist, and now her father cannot force her to return. Finally free, Aquamarine tells Claire and Haley they can make their wish, but both decide to save it for another time. Shortly after, Ray arrives on his surfboard and helps them out of the water. The girls step aside to leave the couple alone. Before saying goodbye, Aquamarine gives Claire and Haley her earrings and promises to visit Claire and travel to Australia to see Haley whenever she can. Then she reunites with Ray and explains that she must return to the ocean to fix things with her father, but promises to come back soon. They say goodbye with a kiss, and Aquamarine asks him to wait for her. On the beach, Claire and Haley feel proud of having helped their friend. Ray walks over to thank them and, emotional, gives each of them a warm kiss on the cheek. Later, Claire and Haley put on the starfish earrings, which begin to whisper that their friendship is special and will continue to exist no matter the distance. Finally, it's time to say goodbye. The two friends hug tightly and promise to see each other again very soon, even if the ocean separates them. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what you think about this movie.